In the year 660 for BC, a new king took the throne of Egypt. His name was Psamtik I, but he would come to be known as Psamtik I, the first ruler of Egypt's 26th dynasty, a dynasty that would usher in a golden age for the Egyptian people. But it had been centuries since Egypt had been whole, and the road to reunification had been a turbulent one. How did one man restore order to the entire country? What challenges did he face and overcome? And how did he manage to forge an alliance with some of the most feared warriors of the ancient world? You are watching this channel. Join me today as we look at the rise of an empire and explore the life of Pharaoh Psamtik I, born into the royal line of the Nubian kings of Kush. Psamtik came to power at a time when Egypt was divided between the 25th dynasty in the south and the Assyrian Empire in the north. For decades, these two powers had been at war, and neither side could claim total victory over the other. Psamtik's rise to power began in the midst of this conflict, and many expected him to continue the long and bloody war. However, he surprised everyone when he made the decision to march on the Assyrian capital, which was aided by a group of Greek mercenaries who were renowned for their skills in warfare. Together, they laid siege to the city, and after 6 months of brutal fighting, the once mighty Assyrian Empire fell, and Psamtik was proclaimed pharaoh of all Egypt. But his work was far from over. While the northern part of Egypt had accepted him as their pharaoh, the central region still held out against him. So Psamtik gathered his army and marched south. There he met with the army of the 25th dynasty and once again, after a long and arduous battle, emerged victorious. With the entire country now under his control, Psamtik was able to bring Egypt together and usher in a golden age of peace and prosperity. He established his capital at Memphis and began to rebuild the city. He also worked to revive the Egyptian way of life, which had been suppressed during the Assyrian occupation. He encouraged the arts and sciences and made great efforts to restore order to the country. His reign marked a turning point in Egyptian history. After centuries of division and strife, Egypt was once again a united kingdom, and its people enjoyed a brief period of peace and prosperity. However, this hard-won unity did not come without its challenges, for despite having defeated the Assyrians, they still posed a threat to Egypt, and so the pharaoh was forced to take up arms once again and lead his army to victory over his old enemies. This victory secured Egypt's independence and established Psamtik's reputation as a great warrior and leader. But even as he enjoyed the fruits of his labor, it was clear to Psamtik that the Assyrians would not be content with their defeat and would no doubt be plotting to regain control of Egypt, knowing that he could not fight the Assyrians with only Egyptian soldiers. Psamtik reached out to the Greeks and asked them to return to Egypt to help defend the country against the oncoming storm. With the help of the Greeks, Psamtik was able to build up a strong military force that was capable of defending Egypt against any invaders. He also continued to promote the arts and sciences and made great efforts to improve the lives of his people. Despite facing many challenges during his reign, Psamtik was successful in restoring Egypt to its former glory and is remembered as one of the greatest pharaohs of all time. Thank you for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe if you want to catch more of our historical tales here on this channel. Also, be sure to check out more of our videos on ancient Egypt. And as always, until next time, stay safe, stay awesome, and stay educated. Take care. The year is 664 BC. For over 200 years, Egypt has been divided into 2 separate kingdoms. But now the time has come for this to end. A new pharaoh has risen to power, and he will soon unite the country once more under his rule. His name was Psamtik I, better known as Psamtik I, and he would become the first ruler of Egypt's 26th dynasty. But how did he manage to unify Egypt? And why is he considered one of the greatest pharaohs of the late period? Welcome to my channel. Today we will find out. When Psamtik came to power, he ruled over a small part of Egypt known as Sais, which was located in the northern part of the country. At the time, the rulers of Sais were not pharaohs, but rather nomarchs, which was the title given to the governors of provinces during the 21st to 23rd dynasties. Psamtik's father was a nomarch named Necho II, who had managed to acquire the title of pharaoh, but only for himself. So, when he died, Psamtik inherited the title of nomarch from him. This meant that Psamtik's rise to power was not a result of some great military campaign or a divine appointment, but merely a succession of title from his father. Nevertheless, despite the circumstances surrounding his accession to power, Psamtik proved to be a capable ruler and strategist. After consolidating his power in the north, Psamtik began to expand his influence southwards. He campaigned against the rulers of Thebes and Memphis, whom he defeated and subjugated to his rule. With this, Psamtik became the first pharaoh to rule over a united Egypt in over 200 years. Following this, Psamtik realized that he could not effectively rule over such a vast territory with so many different people and cultures. So he decided to move his capital to the city of Memphis. Now that he was the undisputed ruler of Egypt, Psamtik turned his attention to foreign affairs. In the eastern part of the empire, the Assyrians were becoming a serious threat. In fact, they had already conquered Nubia and were advancing further into Egyptian territory. In order to defend his homeland, Psamtik recruited an elite military force composed of Greek mercenaries, which became known as the Egyptian army. With their help, Psamtik was able to defeat the Assyrians and push them back across the border. However, Psamtik's greatest legacy is perhaps his patronage of the arts and culture. After centuries of Assyrian and Nubian rule, the Egyptians had lost much of their cultural identity. But Psamtik's reign marked a revival of Egyptian art, architecture, and religion. He built magnificent temples to the gods and goddesses of the Old Kingdom, and he also commissioned the construction of the great Temple of Amun at Karnak. Moreover, Psamtik was a supporter of the traditional Egyptian religion, and he actively worked to suppress the worship of foreign gods. He even went as far as to issue an edict which forbade the sacrifice of animals in the temples. It is important to note that Psamtik's reign was not without its challenges. For example, he faced a revolt by the Libyan nomads in the western desert, as well as a rebellion in the city of Thebes. However, Psamtik was able to put down these rebellions and secure his rule over Egypt. Unfortunately, not much is known about the last years of his reign, but it is known that he died after ruling for 44 years. He was succeeded by his son, Necho II, who continued his father's policies of cultural revival and territorial expansion. In conclusion, Psamtik I was a great pharaoh of Egypt who is often overlooked. He was the founder of the 26th dynasty and the first pharaoh to rule a united Egypt in over 200 years. Psamtik was a capable military strategist, and he successfully defended his empire against the Assyrians. Moreover, he was a patron of the arts and culture, and his reign marked a golden age for Egypt. Although his reign was not without its challenges, Psamtik ultimately succeeded in establishing his dynasty and securing the future of Egypt. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share for more historical content. See you next time.